Hey friends, what's up? Kaz here. Welcome back to another server amateur or bucket spigot plugin tutorial. If you're doing it for the first time, feel free to subscribe button because I do these every week. If you have a suggestion of one you'd like me to do, feel free to comment that in Gibbles below. I will give you a shout out when I get around to it. This is vehicles made by Politoy. Sorry if I butchered your name, which I most likely did. This was not requested by anybody, but one that I actually found I thought could use some highlight. This is a vehicle plugin that doesn't require any sort of client-side resources or mods for this, and there's a lot of vehicles in there, and the author is adding quite a few. We got brooms, we got helicopters, we got tanks, planes, trains, cars, bikes, parachutes, submarines, and rafts all in the one plugin. So all of these are drivable. You just kind of go up, right click on them like you would any other plugin. This one is, and then you just drive it around and then you hop out just like, you know, driving a horse. The cars you can actually, I think the cars you can jump. No, not the cars. The bikes you can jump, which is pretty cool. And the tanks and helicopters you can actually, if you have a fire charge and you have the permission to fire, it will fire and it'll be the damage that's set up for that vehicle. So we're gonna go ahead and hop in the helicopter, and you can see the blades are spinning up, and then you just hold space, turn around, and then fire. Now this one will only fire wherever the nose is pointing, which is kind of fun. But you basically just drive it around and then jump out whenever you want. So the brooms are crazy fast. The subs are pretty cool because they'll go underwater. They got like those little bubble effects. The planes will fly, and the trains you can only place on tracks, and then you can drive the train around, which is pretty cool. So in order to get all of this stuff, the commands are pretty simple. You have the vehicle and then shop. So if we want to look at the helicopter shop, we're going to do helicopter shop, and we actually made a tutorial helicopter, and then you just place it down. And then all I did was I increased the rotation speed and the damage that it does and some of the other speed settings. But you could change all the color codes for any of the any of the vehicles in the config, which is pretty cool. So then you can also do /give and then the vehicle name. So give helicopter to the username and then which one you want to give. And then you can do get vehicle name and then the vehicle specific one that you want for that vehicle type. And then you have vehicle clear, so you can clear out all your vehicles that you have in the area. It'll only clear out the ones that you're the owner of unless you put true at the end of it. Then it'll clear out all of them. And then you can also repair vehicles by doing /repair vehicle. Now the submarines I think are my favorite, just because they're pretty sweet. They go in, you could see everywhere. There's a submarine from earlier of when we were doing some testing. That's the silver one. We're in the yellow submarine, and then you could just get out like always. Of course, then you may suffocate. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about permissions real quick. Permissions are pretty straightforward. You have the vehicle, which is plural, .openShop. So tanks.openShop, and then you can view the shop, and then all of them they cost money in order to buy the vehicle. Then you have vehicles.give vehicle, so tanks.give tanks in order to be able to give tanks. And then you can do get vehicle, and then you have .override owner, so you can override whoever owns that vehicle and use it, or override owner.ride. So if you want anybody to be able to drive any of them, you probably need to add that to your permission node. And then you have override world. So if you have that, it doesn't matter what world you are in, you can use the vehicles. And then you have .fire missile, so tanks.fire missile, helicopter.fire missile. I think those are the only two that you can actually shoot stuff from. So let's go ahead and talk about how do you modify these and take a look at the config. All right, so here we are in our server. We are running 10.2. It's a little bit old, but it's still working. And we're going to go into plugins, and then you have your vehicles jar, and then it creates this vehicles folder. So we have a config and a language. So the language is pretty sweet because you can color code, custom word any of the commands, messages, or anything like that. Not the commands, but any of the messages that pop up for this plugin, and really customizes what you're looking for. I love it when authors do that. Let's take a look at the config file. So here we are in the config file. You can see the allowed worlds. So I am op, so I bypassed this, but you can go ahead and add all the worlds that you want vehicles to be in. You can turn off vehicle health else, so they never take damage. You can keep momentum. You can have it remove it if they die. You can have it remove it if they dismount, which we didn't show you the parachute, so we'll talk about that in a moment. Now this top section now is about all the shops and the layout of all the shops. So shop size 9, that's across. You can make 18. You can really expand this out if you want. You could change the title of it, and then all the things that show up in that GUI of that bike shop, which is pretty cool. So you could make your own. I would probably make one shop for all of it. But you know, that's kind of how it goes. So I'm gonna go and show you guys the helicopter one. So basically what I did was I copied 7, put it down here, I renamed it 8, and then the type, so the vehicle type pertains to a section at the bottom of the config file where you actually set up the vehicle and change the settings that you want. So we changed the name of it, we changed the type, we changed the unique entry on the shop as well. And then you can actually change the item material that shows up in that shop as well, which is pretty cool. And then we're going to get down to past the brooms. Now we're getting to the actual vehicle section setup. So we're going to go all the way down to the helicopters and show you guys what we did. Pretty straightforward on each of these sections, but if you modify that shop up at the top, you're going to have to modify the vehicle section down below. So the vehicle type that we added was H4. So now we can see that here's the entry H4. It's stained clay is the main material. We could change that if we wanted to. You could change the banners. You could change the max speed. You can change the acceleration, rotor speed. You can change the name. You can also change the permission nodes. So you can really give your users advantage for voting or for donating or whatever. They get these permission nodes to all these other vehicles that then they can use. And that's pretty much it. Let's jump back in the game and take a look. One thing that I did not showcase was the parachute. So as you're falling, you just right click on it and it'll open up, and then you will go down to safety. So you can have it where you can right click obviously and jump out, and then it's just gonna stay right there. I wonder if we can we get back in it? Probably. Yeah, you can. That's pretty cool. But if you turn on that delete on dismount, that would go away after they dismount. So might be something you want to do. And then you have the vehicle clear, and then we'll just do a 20 radius. So we have 8 vehicles removed, and that's it. So like I said, pretty cool, real simple plugin to set up. You can kind of like tweak it to what you want depending on permission nodes and all that stuff. So hopefully this helps you guys get up and go. This is Kaz, reminding you guys all, enjoy the game. God bless. Here we do. Let's kick this pig.